This MLB Playoffs Monday Game 7 Picks edition of the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5, get $100 in bonus funds. Use the sign-up code MLB SGPN. Welcome, everybody, to the MLB Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is, just like the good old days, I've got absolutely no idea. October the 20th, and it's more than likely Monday. We are here to, as best as possible, have a look along the Game 7. We've got a rare Game 7. Seattle Mariners against Toronto Blue Jays this evening. The world's gone mad, luckily. The two men who can fix it, me and Scott Reichel. Scott, what's going on, man?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Unfortunately, for the biggest game of the season, we couldn't go live because there was an issue with the platform. So we bypassed it. We're on Zoom. So either way, we are recording. I'll upload this video afterwards. But we're still going to be talking about Game 7. It's pretty funny, though, when you compare both leagues, because we've had the polar opposite experience for both leagues. Yeah. The Dodgers have coasted. They've lost, one game the entire postseason? And then you have the Blue Jays and the Mariners. Mariners, of course, went to the brink against Detroit, and we're back here again in the ALCS. But after watching the Dodgers destroy Milwaukee in a 4-game sweep, at least we had a very good series no matter who wins Game 7. We have a Game 7. I'm satisfied.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Quiz question for you, Scott. How many Game 7s have these two franchises had in their history combined?
Combined, I'm going to say it's either 0 or 1. I'm going to say 0.
Ooh. Oh, he's hit the post. It's 1.
It was 1? All right.
Unlucky. Blue Jays against the Kansas City Royals, 1985, Scott.
Okay. I remember like it was yesterday.
So that surprised me. So, yeah, two fan bases. One of these two fan bases is going to be entirely dismayed by whatever goes on tonight. This is a really, really big game. Yeah, there's some global something going on. It's nothing we've done. The banking apps and all sorts of things are goosed. So, yeah, it is unfortunate. Myself and Lonte did Game 6 yesterday, and it just followed the same pattern for me again. In that my results were all right. I gave out 3 picks and 2 of them won. The over hit, good. My Logan Gilbert under 3.5 strikeouts hit, which was plus money. That was fine. But for this 6th time this series, I got the handicap completely wrong. Completely wrong. Myself and Lonte talked about it before the game yesterday. That I've just got this. The good spots for the Blue Jays, Seattle have won. The good spots for Seattle, Toronto have won. I got Bryce Miller wrong. I got Yesavage, what we calling him. Yesavage to go well, and I would call him badly. Yesavage to go badly, and he's pitched well. I've got everything upside down, Scott, in this series completely, even though I managed to fluke 2 out of the 3 picks, really. Has this series been in any way made any sense to you?
Not really. I'll ask you, though, since you were not on the episode where we actually previewed the series and Game 1, what did you think the series result was going to be before it started?
I thought it was set up for Toronto, just because the early part of that series seemed like a really great spot for them. At home, Seattle were coming off the emotional, physical investment of the 15 innings and all that sort of thing. And I thought the Blue Jays would get out to a soft lead, and it didn't happen. And then, when it looked like Seattle then had got themselves into a really very strong position, it all flipped, and Toronto won the road games. And I didn't fancy Yesavage at all last night. At all. I didn't fancy Bryce Miller in the 2 games. The only 2 games that a Seattle pitcher's pitched well in this series. So, I mean, literally, bizarro world. Like, I've been in the Jerry Seinfeld bizarro world. 100% wrong. Although I've fluked my way into a couple of little winners here and there. So, yeah, just something to look forward to, I suppose. Having said all of that, it's 3-3 and someone's going to pick up a winner, Scott.
That's kind of the thing, though, is going into the series, I like Toronto in 6. That was my initial prediction.
Right,
I thought
okay.
they'd go up early, and they did not do that. They immediately went down 2-0, but I did pick Toronto to win the series. So in theory, if they win the game tonight, if you ignore all the details, my prediction wasn't that bad. So it's kind of the saving grace. But I thought Toronto was the better team going in. It was a terrible spot with Seattle playing 15 innings, burning the entire rotation in that game. They hit the leadoff home run by Springer and then did nothing for the next basically 2 games. And then they immediately fell behind. Seattle did a nice job responding in Game 5 after losing Game 3 and Game 4. And then it felt like a pretty standard home field advantage game for Toronto, which I thought we would get in either Game 1 or Game 2 or both. We finally got the home crowd involvement in Game 6, which just carried Toronto because Yosevich was great. Gilbert, who has really not been great this postseason, I get that he had a big relief role in Game 5 against Detroit, but his starts have not been very good, so I did like the over in the game. I thought Yosevich would get a quick leash, and I didn't think he'd pitch as long as he did, but Toronto woke up. Vlad's still doing Vlad things, homered again, but it felt like Toronto finally showed the home fans what they were waiting for the entire series, and we'll see if it's the same thing that happens in Game 7. A reminder, 2-3-2 format. We're still in Toronto for Game 7.
Yeah, fine margins as well. You've said Vlad's completely and utterly locked in. But then, I mean, those 3 double plays to end 3 in double plays. The first 3 of his career, by the way. This is a kid who pitched like 5 times in the big leagues. And yeah, that is the first game that really went to script or as you might have predicted. So, yeah. MyBookie.ag, one of our main sponsors here. Your place to bet on football and everything else. Head to MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% bet back bonus up to $500 for new customers. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And we're brought to you by Novig, America's #1 sports prediction market. Available in over 35 states. Download the Novig app, get $50 when you spend $5. Use the code SGPN. That's Novig, promo code SGPN. Okay, so it all goes off at 8:10 Eastern this evening. A little bit late for me. I will watch it over my coffee in the morning. Seattle Mariners at the Toronto Blue Jays. George Kirby for the Mariners. Shane Bieber for the Blue Jays. Plus 115 Seattle. Minus 135 Toronto. And the total is at 7.5. Kirby goes for Seattle, and you just mentioned none of the Seattle pitchers have been good in this series. Only Miller.
Except for one, the one you'd least expect was actually
the one I didn't
good.
want. Both times, faded him. Both times I've watched the highlights of those games, waiting for the blow-up inning, just waiting. And it hasn't come. He's just, that's baffled me. Kirby's playoff ERA is at a level 18 tonight, but absolutely everybody is available to pitch except Gilbert tonight, including Brian Wu. I think we might see at some point. Castillo, you name it, they will throw the kitchen sink if needs be. Shane Bieber pitched on August the 15th against, in this series, obviously, 6 innings, 2 earned runs, 8 strikeouts. That was the game the Blue Jays won 13-4. He was hooked very early. 8 outs in his preceding playoff start against the Yankees in that one. I think it's worth pointing out last night, as you said, Scott, the crowd, the home advantage, and little things like the Blue Jays defence was very good. They were very slick, where Seattle weren't. Seattle was sloppy, and it's definitely worth something. I think it's a valid point to put in your handicap. The Blue Jays were very, very aggressive at the plate, and the Seattle pitchers have got the 3rd highest zone rate in MLB, and that's proven to be a bad combination because the Mariners are pounding the strike zone early, and the Blue Jays are ready for it. Like, that's just their DNA. So the combo doesn't really fit. I'm going to take, with fair warning, I think I'm 0 for 6. I'm going to take, sorry, Toronto fans, I'm on last night's evidence again, the fact that Kirby's not being great, Seattle pitching hasn't been great, the home field, the defense, Vladdy being locked in, it's just the ticks are in the boxes of the Toronto Blue Jays for me. I also like the over. I think we can get there again, over 7.5. And I've got one player prop, Scott, which is Shane Bieber under on the outs. Both pitches outs are set at 11.5, which just seems a little bit high for me because the managers are going to be on a hair trigger tonight. So I'll take Bieber on the outs. But yeah, I've got the Blue Jays. Yesterday, myself and Lonte completely took different sides. Are we going team right today, or are you going with Seattle?
No, I picked Toronto in 6, so I might as well stick with them to win in 7. I got Toronto. The truth is, I think this game will be rather underwhelming, which I hope I'm wrong about, but I think Toronto kills them tonight. I do think, even though, like you, the series has not gone well for me game to game, at the end of the day, Seattle, I feel like we can talk about it because I know that each individual game is independent, and we know momentum in baseball doesn't exist as much as people want to believe. This series is a big example of that. I do want to ask if you think Seattle's best chance was Game 6, because Gilbert is one of their guys, even if he was not great in the postseason. He's a workhorse. He's a regular starting pitcher. Yusevich, though, made 2 postseason starts in his career, was awful earlier in the series, and you just won Game 5 to set up Toronto with all the pressure on them to keep their season alive, and you won both games already in their building. And not only did you lose, you got destroyed. You were down 4-0 in the first 20 minutes of the game, basically. So I want to ask you, even though momentum I know has not really been a thing in this series, doesn't it feel like Seattle at least had to show something in Game 6, and they just completely rolled over? Doesn't it kind of feel that way?
There was a couple of things. There was a part of it. I think you have to credit Toronto because Savage, and as much as I said I handicapped stuff wrong yesterday, we said Savage had to get back to the splitter because that's what he'd thrown when he was brilliant. He then, for some reason, eschewed it in the start before, and then last night got back to it. And he threw a few of them that were absolute gems. Just that low plane, the Suarez, I'm trying to think who else. He got someone who was just looking, waiting for the ball to dive under the zone, and it didn't go. It was a really nice pitch. And so the plan from the Toronto Blue Jays has been good. So I think they just executed and almost Vladdy wasn't a one-man performance in any way, but baseball is a game where one man can get you there, especially if you've got someone like, for example, Shohei Ohtani. But also Vladdy, the way he's gone, his numbers in both series, I think he's 9 for 18 and 9 for 22 or something insane with 3 homers in both series. So I agree with you. I thought it was a good chance for Seattle, but I would credit the Blue Jays with making the correct adjustments, to swing the pendulum in their favour, Scott.
I still give props to Toronto for playing well and, of course, an elimination game. But at the same point, when you're comparing the pitchers and the pitching matchups that we had for Game 6 and Game 7, you have Gilbert against the guy who you shelled earlier in the series with almost no postseason experience in a building where you won both games on the road. Now you have Kirby. You mentioned his postseason ERA. It's horrific. I mean, there's no other way around it. And Bieber, who was not good against the Yankees, gave up a 2 spot in the first inning in the first start this season. No run since then. So I do want to ask you, with Kirby versus Bieber, who do you give the edge to in terms of starting pitching? I know both their outs are at 11.5. With Kirby's postseason numbers, doesn't it have to be Toronto?
I don't really want either.
Yeah, not by a lot, but I don't want Kirby with his ERA in general in the postseason.
No, I wouldn't want any of the Seattle. It doesn't. The name next to the Seattle pitcher tonight didn't really matter. Say Kirby, Castillo. Who else am I missing?
Well, Wu didn't pitch much, but Wu pitched a little bit.
Wu hasn't pitched at all, but the pitch has just been horrible. So I don't. Bieber, the manager's going to be on such edge tonight. The minute Bieber walks somebody or does anything that the manager doesn't like, he'll be gone because that's the game we're out. So, no edge because I just don't really want either. But the edge really comes from the momentum, the crowd, Vladdy. And like I say, the defense and things like that, you can kind of read into a little bit how a team feels, how they're smelling themselves.
Seattle felt
whether
tight.
they're turning
They felt tight
three
last
double
night.
plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 double plays, or those sloppy little the throw down that got down the third base line when Vladdy was up in home. Like, he didn't wait around to see where that ball had gone. He slid in, he popped up, and he was gone. Little things like that, just might just be worth half a run, Scott. So, yeah, you can't take the starting pitching out of it, of course not. But equally, I'm not factoring it in hugely because I don't think Kirby has been great. But Bieber's going to be on such a short leash that he'll be gone in a heartbeat if required anyway.
I guess one question I have for Seattle just in general, and we saw them look very tight in Game 6. Toronto played loose. They jumped them early, and they took over the game immediately. This is probably, not even probably, because there was a spot at the World Series on the line, biggest game in Seattle franchise history. If they were tight in Game 6, they might be even tighter in Game 7. Like, that's kind of my concern. Toronto with the crowd can feast on it. Yes, I understand that the series has been unpredictable. We've had a lot of road wins this entire postseason. I get that. But there's a lot on the line for both teams. And Seattle on the road in this hostile environment, having never reached this opportunity as a franchise ever, do I think there's a chance if they fall behind early, they let go of the rope? There might be. There might be a chance where Toronto jumps them early and Seattle mentally just can't overcome that. That's kind of what I'm picking. I don't think Kirby goes well. I think Toronto jumps them. I think Bieber goes okay, and I think Toronto wins. But in terms of score, I have like a 5-1 final. I think that Toronto wins handily, which is going to sound very boring for an elimination game, Game 7 winner take all. I think the series ends with a dud. I think Toronto kind of kills them tonight. That's kind of my thoughts.
Lonte made a really good point yesterday, was that the games in which Seattle have done well, it's been on the back of one person's lifted them. We've had a Eugenio Suarez game. We had a Cal Raleigh game. We had a Polanco game. Blue Jays, opposite. Blue Jays have got those glue guys that we talk about. The bits and bobs players, the classic bits and bobs players. Ernie Clement, Barger.
I love Clement. Clement is so good. I love Clement.
Yeah, IKF. I mean, I would we've laughed about IKF, but well, I say we. Well, I mean you. Over the years, though, like he was going to be the glue guy at the Yankees, wasn't he? And he just wasn't. But Seattle haven't really had that. Where Toronto, all right, okay, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Nathan Lucas or Andres Jimenez or Dalton Varsho? You could reel off quite a load of those glue guys for Toronto. As great as Vladdy's been, they still have those people linking it together, knitting it together, where Seattle don't. It's like, okay, Suarez hit two homers, Raleigh hit 2 homers, and we're not going to get it done. And I think that goes in Toronto's favour as well, Scott.
Yeah. Now, the over-under I thought was kind of tricky. I think most people want the over just because of the questionable pitchers for starters. You mentioned the lack of leash for both teams with their starters, so I kind of like the under. But I'm not going to bet the under. But for Game 7, if somebody struggles, he's leaving the game. So I don't see a pitcher struggling enough to give up the massive inning. I got Toronto like 5-1. I think Toronto goes in there, takes care of business at home. I think Seattle offensively no-shows the game. That's kind of my thoughts. But
do you have any other player props that you've got to it all? I've got one. And this is, I mean, I'm just throwing horseshoes at the moon here. Doubles out of the blue. I've been playing some total base bets, actually, which have worked out the last few nights. But I'm going to take over half a double for one of the glue guys we just talked about, Dalton Varsho. He's got some good wheels. He's been putting back the ball. So over half a double. He had 3 games ago. He had a double last night, actually. So 3 in his last 2 games. Dalton Varsho was 4-1. To hit a double. So I'll take a little flyer on that, Scott, for the fun of it.
Yeah, so I'll go with Clement, actually. Give me the over 1.5 HRR at even money, which I found. He's gone over in every game in the series, besides Game 1, I mean. He's gone over 9 of the 10 postseason games, so he's been incredible. Give me Clement to keep rolling. I like the over 1.5 HRR.
Okay, and anything else you want to throw out a home run play?
Sure. So for my home run play, Vladdy's going to be the obvious answer for most people. But you know what? I'm going to go with the experienced guy, the guy that's been around the block a few times. Give me George Springer. I'll take him at plus 425.
That is a great pick. I'll give a Seattle Mariner out because I don't feel like the Mariners have had much run here. I will take Randy Arozarena, plus 625. Randy is. He's landed for me once or twice this season. We'll throw Seattle a little bone there. Scott, in the face of much technological adversity, we have managed to crank out a little 20 minutes. Anything else to tell the people before we let them go?
Yes, you have another ad read to do.
I was going to message you that privately, but you've bitten the bullet and because it's a short show, I wasn't sure what the crack is.
You always try to fit them in. It's fine. It's all good.
Under no circumstances, Scott, would I ever forget our favourite advertisers here. Underdog, a great place to play fantasy pick'em. You can win it with 500 times your entry. Just pick higher or lower on a ton of sports. Brand new offer is play $5 and get $100 in bonus funds. The sign-up code is MLB SGPN. And, of course, Rhythm, crushing it in college football and NFL with the picks and props. Free weekly cash prizes by tracking your bets in the app as well. Use the promo code SGPN25. Download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm. Use promo code SGPN25. Anything you want to add?
Do you want to just do best bets? Do you have a favorite play that you want to give out for this game?
Yes, I do. It is the Shane Bieber under 11.5 outs, which is even money, actually. It's a nice price. It's not juiced at all. Sure. Yeah, I'll take Bieber under on the outs, 11.5 evens. In fact, you could take the same play for Kirby if you want. Both pitchers. I don't know if a little same game parlay might be in the offing there. But Kirby and Bieber both to go under, Scott.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with a split on my best bet because it's correlated, but I'll take one. I don't know if mini ladder is the right word, but I'll go with the Blue Jays money line at minus 130. Blue Jays minus 1.5 plus 158.
I've just seen Bob come home from school, and he lives on the ground floor. Yeah, his bedroom was on the ground floor. He's come home. He hasn't even come in the door. I think he's just climbed through his bedroom window. Like, he's so like a 14-year-old teenage boy. His bedroom's like a crack den.
Is that
like,
something you would do or no? Are you? Did you used to climb through and out of windows, or that wasn't a thing?
Well, no, I don't. I think I had to come through the door. But he's just so little need for me now in his life that he's just gone straight through the window. And if I see him before 11 p.m. tonight, that'll be the end. He'll probably come out when he's hungry, and that's it. But anyway, that's where we are. Are we done, Scott?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I like the Blue Jays money line at minus 1.5, so there we go. It's fine.
Cool, right. Thanks, mate. That was a good effort. Thanks, everyone. Apologies for the technical whatevers, but do keep an eye on the schedule where we should be back to normal. ASAP.
One more thing, by the way. Since I didn't actually post in the Slack chat what the schedule is going to be, we will be doing one separate episode for World Series futures with potentially some series props, stuff like that. Then we'll get into game 1, game 2, all the fun stuff individually. But in the previous rounds, we were grouping the World Series preview with game 1. There will be a separate episode for those things.
Yeah, correct.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you, mate. Good luck, everyone. Enjoy the game is the main takeaway tonight. I hope it's a fun game. Good luck with your bets, and we will see you all down the road. Cheers.